Namaste, family. Today, let's talk about our children. I desire to encourage us today to give our children lots of warm hugs and let them feel our love, our joyful and peaceful vibrations, so that they can grow up being fully loving, peaceful, joyful beings. And also, when we release them into the world, we will teach them how to treat others. You know, when I was a young person, my grandmother would always take us to bed. She never sent us to bed. She never said, "Go to bed." She never yelled at us. And I admired her for that. So after our family dinners at the table, we always had family meals at the dinner table. No one sat in the living room or ate by the television. But after our evening meals, grandmother would draw us some warm baths. And then after that, when we were real small, she would bathe us. But as we grew older, of course, she allowed us to bathe ourselves. Then grandmother would take us to bed, take us to our separate beds, and she would sing to us warm, beautiful songs full of love. Then after the songs, she would read to us a bedtime story. And then she would get on her knees with us and say a prayer, an evening prayer. And after our evening prayers, she would place us in the bed or allow us to climb into the bed. And just as a loving grandmother would do, she would tuck us in, take the bed covers, wrap them around us, and then tuck in the corners until we felt safe and secure. Then she would give us a kiss on our cheek or our foreheads and say, "I love you." Then she'd turn out the lights if they weren't already turned off, and we would fall soon fast asleep. You know, I think sometimes we forget how wonderful it feels to be hugged. As women, we enjoy being hugged by our men and snuggled or scooped. And as men, you enjoy the comfort of your woman's arms, the embrace that she gives you, the security of being on her breast, the loving vibrations that you feel. How much more would our children appreciate being hugged and taken to bed, not sent to bed? Now, as a grandmother, I do the same rituals as my grandmother. And when my children, who are now adults, were young, I would take them to bed and read to them and sing to them. And I'm not a good singer. I'll give you a little sample of how much of a good singer I'm not. I'd sing songs like, "Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus, if you please. Daily walking close to thee. Let it be, dear Lord, let it be." And sometimes they would join in with me because they enjoyed the ritual. And we'd read a bedtime story, and then I'd tuck them in the bed. I performed these rituals all the way up until they became older. And as teenagers, I would even have them go bathe themselves, and then we would convene in one room, and instead of reading to them, we would read to each other, or they would read to me. So I'd take a book that was inspiring or encouraging, like Gifted Hands, and different books that would encourage them to be good people, or read poems, and we would go around the circle and read to each other. I'd have a turn too. And then we'd say a prayer or do our meditations. And then they would go to their separate rooms and go fast asleep. Sometimes it took a little while for them to go to sleep, but they enjoyed the ritual. And I did that for many years up into their teen years. And today they're loving, warm beings, and they do the same for their children. If I'm not around to do it for them, usually I'm the one who does it for their children, but they're great parents. Now, when they were teenagers, I did stop singing because one time I was doing the Just a Closer Walk with Thee. And they said, Mom, you're off key. So they were all musicians. Their father taught them to play musical instruments and to sing because he's a phenomenal musician. So I respected their will to hear good music. So they were just kidding. But at that point, I said, we can do something else. You guys can sing to me and you can read to me. But the point of this video is, let's be responsible, loving, nurturing, caring parents, and love our children. Hug them. Embrace them. I know we get tired as parents and we get so busy with our lives, but when we don't take care of our job or our children and do our job as parents, we release them into the world insecure and unsafe and feeling unloved. And we leave them vulnerable for people and harmful people to do things to them that's nefarious and unkind. And we don't want that. We desire to be responsible, loving beings. This is just my reminder to you. I love you. Hug yourself. And hug those babies, for we brought them into the world, and we desire to release them to be loving, peaceful, kind human beings. Namaste. Peace. You can even play music like this to help yourself and your children have a wonderful, wonderful, restful sleep. Even as a foster parent, I did this for my foster children, and sometimes had morning and evening rituals of yoga and meditations, and then quiet, peaceful music. Again, I love you all. Go into the world and release this love and this joy and this peace. For we are here to show the world how to be loving and kind and peaceful to one another.